When a Millionaire'S cleaning lady risked it all to save his special daughter at my DNIGHT, the clock struck midnight, and the mansion stood still, shrouded in shadows and secrets. Outside, the wind howled, rattling the windows, as if warning of what was to come. Inside, Maria, the cleaning lady, felt the familiar chill creep down her spine. Maybe it was just her imagination, or maybe it was the hushed whispers of the home's unseen occupants, or could it be the echo of a child's tortured cries? $1 million house, yet that sound was more haunting than any ghost story. Maria had always known this place was different. It wasn't just the fine art and expensive furniture that blurred the lines between a dream and reality. It was the electric air of tension that hung heavy, woven into the very fabric of this lavish life. She had never seen the daughter, but she felt her presence, a spark of light tucked away in a world where shadows roamed free. A chill coursed through Maria, pulling her deeper into the night, urging her to investigate the faint tremors that whispered through the air. As she tidied up the kitchen, her instincts intensified. It was more than the usual dishes and clutter, it was the unsettling feeling that something was terribly wrong. The daughter's laughter, silenced and hidden, fluttered like the dying wings of a trapped butterfly against her ears. She had heard the others murmur about the girl, the one with the bright eyes but often locked away from the world. Was she truly as special as they said, or merely a burden? The questions pinned her heart like a trapped moth, twisting and wringing out her fear. Just as her resolve hardened, a sharp bang from upstairs punctured the stillness like a gunshot. Maria's heart raced. She knew she shouldn't take another step into the depths of the mansion, but she couldn't ignore the cries, those desperate, muffled pleas reaching out through the walls. Would she turn back now and pretend she didn't hear? No. Her instincts bloated with urgency, and she found her feet already moving, drawn to the spiral staircase. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Her heart thudded against her ribs as she crept upwards, each step a muffled gasp. At the top, the hallway stretched before her, dark and foreboding. She could feel the chill of the air grip her throat. Maria's mind swirled as she turned to face the only door at the end of the hall, slightly ajar, a sliver of darkness inviting her in. The baby monitor lay just inside the threshold, static crackling like an angry storm. She sucked in a breath, bracing herself. But before she could push the door wider, she was met with the piercing gaze of the girl, eyes wide, shimmering with something more than fear. Was it hope? The weight of the world seemed to rest on her small, fragile shoulders. The mere sight knocked the wind from Maria's lungs like a punch to the gut. Something was terribly wrong, and prowling her inner thoughts, a whisper rose, demanding action. There was something or someone lurking in the shadows, and Maria was the only one who could save that little girl. What would she discover in that dimly lit room? What danger crept closer, waiting for its moment? Time was slipping away, and so was the chance to change everything. As Maria held the door slightly open, the scent of dampness mixed with an underlying hint of something metallic filled her senses. The room was dimly lit by a lone lamp, casting an eerie glow. Shadows danced violently on the walls as the flicker of light struggled with the encroaching darkness. The little girl stood there, small and delicate, her frail body trembling as if a storm raged inside her. "Please help me," the girl whispered, her voice barely above a breath. The plea was so raw, so heart-wrenching, that Maria felt her own heart twist in response. Before Maria could step inside, another sound shattered the air, a snarl that echoed through the mansion, deep and throaty. Fear washed over her in waves. It felt like it came from a beast, but within the sanctuary of this luxurious home, what could be lurking? An agonizing instinct told her to step back, but the girl's gaze held her firm, anchoring her to the moment. Don't, the girl pleaded, glancing over her shoulder as if sensing an imminent danger lurking just beyond sight. He'll hear you. Who was this he? Maria's mind raced, filled with questions and a growing sense of urgency. Without thinking, she stepped inside, driven by some primal force, feeling the door push against her with the energy of 100 warnings. Stay quiet, she whispered, kneeling down to the girl's level. There were tears in the child's eyes, reflecting the fear that Maria now felt deep in her own bones. What is happening? Where are your parents? The little girl shook her head, crying silently. They don't care. She paused, her breath hitching. He takes me away. Maria's heart twisted. Poor thing. Away. Where? Her mind raced with the implications of that one word. She leaned closer, searching the little girl's right arm and saw faint marks, red, angry marks that resembled ropes or restraints. Who takes you away? He said he'd come back. I don't want to go back. The girl's voice quivered. Suddenly, there was a loud crash from the direction of the hallway, followed by heavy footsteps. Time froze, the kind of cold dread creeping through Maria that momentarily paralyzed her. Did he hear us? Maria whispered, her eyes darting to the door. The baby monitor sputtered, spitting static like it was on the edge of detonating. The girl's face went pale. She nodded vigorously, eyes wide with a mix of dread and urgency. The footsteps neared, pounding against the wooden floor, echoing ominously in the stillness. Without a thought, Maria grabbed the girl's hand. We have to hide. They stumbled through the room as the pounding grew louder. Maria fought down her panic. Instinct guided her to the wardrobe, heavy and carved intricately, standing in the corner like an ancient guardian. They slipped inside just as the door swung wide, creaking ominously. What's taking so long? A low voice growled from the threshold, gruff and mocking. You think you can hide from me? Maria's heart thudded painfully in her chest, every beat screaming for her to run. The darkness around them felt oppressive, filled with a terror that was palpable. She could barely breathe, every second stretching painfully. Was it fear or the weight of purpose that filled her? The girl squeezed her hand, a silent signal that they needed to be brave. But what could she do? What could anyone do against a monster? As the footsteps echoed closer, a single thought burned in Maria's mind: she could no longer turn back. She couldn't leave this girl behind, and in that moment, she made a vow, to uncover the truth and bring a light into the shadows that had swallowed them both. With a fleeting glance at the girl, she felt a spark of courage ignite within her. But could they survive the next moment? As the closet door shook under the weight of impending discovery, Maria's heart raced. What terrors awaited them outside? There, in the darkness of the wardrobe, the world felt like it was teetering on the edge of an abyss, and only one question remained: would they fall into it? Maria's breath quickened as the voice from outside the wardrobe echoed menacingly, thick with malice. A shiver crept up her spine, the darkness wrapping around them like a suffocating blanket. She squeezed the girl's hand tighter, willing her strength and hope to flow into the trembling little frame beside her. There was no choice but to endure. Where is she? The voice called again, this time a low growl, like an animal on the hunt. You can't hide forever. With each word, the air thickened with dread. Maria's mind raced, desperately searching for a plan. She had to stay calm for the girl's sake, but how could she be calm when a monster prowled just inches away? Maria sneaked a glance through the wardrobe's narrow slats. The hallway was dim, shadows shifting ominously under the flickering light. Please don't find us, the girl whimpered, her small voice shaking. The sound pierced Maria's heart, a reminder that they were both trapped in this nightmare. Shoo, I'm here, Maria whispered back, her voice soothing despite the pounding fear inside her chest. We'll be okay. The girl nodded, but dread still clouded her eyes. Just then, the footsteps grew louder, echoing through the hollow halls. Maria could feel the vibrations in her bones. Each step resonated like a countdown to whatever punishment awaited them. A low chuckle broke through the tension, seeping into the closet like poison. You think this is a game? I have your scent now. Maria's blood ran cold. The monster could track them. Her heart raced at the thought. What kind of creature was this? What did he want with the little girl? She was just a child. Heat flooded through her, following the trail of anger ignited within her heart. They didn't deserve this. A crash sounded to their right, and the wardrobe shuddered slightly as something weighed heavily against it. Maria's throat tightened. Would he feel it move? Would he discover them? Look away, she whispered urgently, turning the girl's face away from the door. The last thing she wanted was for the child to witness whatever horror might unfold. Just hold on to me. The girl nodded, her little fingers trembling against Maria's palm, and for a brief moment, they stood together in solidarity, two souls locked away in the dark. The door creaked again, this time swinging the other way, as the figure lumbered into the room, blocking the scant light with his broad shoulders. Maria swallowed hard, her chest tight with fear. She could see only the outline, a dark silhouette brimming with malevolence. You think hiding will save you? You're only postponing the inevitable, he snarled, his voice dripping with contempt. Panic surged inside Maria, clawing at her sanity. What did he mean? What would happen next? Then, she spotted an old, rusted iron key hanging on a nearby hook, an oddity in this opulent mansion. Could it be the key to a way out? A chance to escape this nightmare? Hold still, Maria whispered to the girl, her heart pounding as she nudged her way toward the crack in the wardrobe. She couldn't just wait to be discovered. Her mind raced through the options: stay hidden or risk everything. Adrenaline coursed through her veins as she reached for the key, her fingers trembling. If only she could snatch it. The clangor of heavy footsteps drew nearer, echoing like thunder in her ears. It was a race against time. Would capturing the key in this moment give them the escape they desperately needed? Just as she grasped the cold metal in her hand, a sharp exhale sounded just outside the wardrobe. Now, where are you hiding? Maria froze, breath caught in her throat. Would their moment of hope become a harbinger of doom? Her pulse quickened as she prepared to face the darkness. But as the seconds ticked away, one question loomed larger than the fear in her heart: could a key truly unlock their salvation, or was it simply another way to deliver them to despair? The air around Maria felt electric, thick with tension, as if the very walls of the wardrobe were holding their breath. She clenched the key tightly, its cold metal pressing into her palm, a lifeline in a sea of despair. Maria, what's happening? The little girl whispered, her voice barely a breath. Just trust me, okay? Maria managed to reply, her throat dry with fear. She knew she had to act quickly. The monster outside had said he could smell them. If he caught even a whiff of their scent, it would be game over. As the silhouette loomed closer, an uneasy realization brewed within Maria. They couldn't stay here. Hiding offered safety for a heartbeat, but at what cost? The beast's low growl vibrated in the bones of the house, and Maria's resolve solidified. It was now or never. On three, we're going to push out, okay? She urged, squeezing the girl's hand for courage. 1, 2. Before she could finish, the door creaked ominously as the figure leaned in, his breath hissing like steam from a boiling pot. Panic clawed at Maria's chest, and she figured it wouldn't matter if they were found in the wardrobe or out in the open, they had to take the chance. 3. Maria shouted, throwing herself against the door and forcing it open, its hinges protesting with a shriek. She bolted out, yanking the girl along behind her. The room exploded in chaos. The dim light flickered as the monster spun around, eyes glinting with a wild hunger. He was more horrifying up close, his gnarled features twisted into a grotesque snarl. Maria's instincts screamed at her to run, but her gaze locked onto the keyhole on the opposite wall, a door, just big enough for them to escape. Go, go! Maria cried, ushering the girl ahead of her. Together, they raced across the room, heartbeats clamoring in their ears. The sound of the monster's footsteps thudded behind them, relentless and growing nearer, just as they reached the door, Maria glanced back. The creature lunged, fingers outstretched like claws, jaws snapping as if it could devour them whole. She shoved the key into the lock, adrenaline pumping through her veins. Just a little more, she whispered to herself, jiggling the rusted key. Her palms were slick with sweat, slipping on the handle. The sound of heavy breathing filled the air, mixing with the pounding of her heart. She could almost feel the creature's hot breath on her neck. Every instinct told her to run, but she had to turn the key. What if this was the only way out? Finally, with a sharp click, the lock sprang free. Maria yanked the door open and shoved the girl through, practically tumbling into the narrow passage that lay beyond. Go. Don't stop. She urged, pushing the child forward into the shadows. But just as she was about to follow, the beast barreled through the doorway, filling the frame with dark menace. Maria's breath hitched, a predator cornering its prey. Without thinking, she slammed the door and locked it behind her, her heart thudding in her chest. The sound of scratching and furious pounding echoed against the wood and rattled her bones. Maria. The girl's voice chimed, fear trickling through her urgency. Stay close. Maria shot back, scanning the narrow corridor. With every beat of her heart, the shadows seemed to shift, revealing more eerie passages that branched off in all directions. Instinct told her that she needed to get moving, yet a terrible uncertainty clung to her. What lay ahead? Would they find salvation, or was this new world merely an extension of the nightmare they'd just escaped? Taking a deep breath, Maria stepped into the abyss of the corridor, internally battling the tides of fear and determination. Each footfall was a reminder that they weren't safe yet, and the looming darkness whispered relentlessly of dangers yet unseen. Then, as they moved deeper into the shadows, Maria spotted a flicker of light. Could it be a way out? Or had they merely stumbled deeper into the grip of the unknown? With hope igniting in her chest, she pressed forward, clinging to the girl's hand. Whatever lay ahead, they would face it together. After everything they'd been through, she was not about to back down now. The moment of truth loomed closer, but as they approached, another chilling realization washed over her. That flicker of light might hold answers, but it could also lead them right back to the creature's grasp. What would they find when they reached it? The flicker drew closer, illuminating the darkness ahead, which felt heavier than ever. Maria's heart raced in sync with the erratic light as if it mirrored her desperate hope. Each step carried the weight of 1,000 fears, the girl beside her echoing every silent question with her own wide, frightened eyes. What if it's a trap? The little girl whispered, her voice trembling. Maria forced a smile, though dread curled in her stomach. Then we'll just have to be quicker. Trust me. We can do this together. The glow intensified, revealing the contours of an odd chamber. It was lined with old mirrors that distorted their reflections, making them appear like warped shadows. Each breath Maria took felt thick, laden with anxiety and the faint scent of something burning. She couldn't help but feel they were being watched, as if the very mirrors were alive, holding their breath. Maria, look. The girl pointed. At the center of the room stood a pedestal with a small lantern. It flickered with an inviting flame, but as its light unfurled, the shadows in the corners seemed to grow darker and loom closer, creeping toward them like tendrils. Stay back, Maria cautioned, taking a step forward, her instincts flaring. She could sense danger roiling beyond the light, a treachery lurking just out of view. Let me check it out first. As she approached the lantern, Maria felt an icy draft swirl around her, sending chills down her spine. The lantern's light remained steady, but the air crackled with an unseen tension. She reached for it, her fingers brushing against the cool metal. In that moment, a loud crash echoed from the corridor they had just left, sending tremors through the chamber. Maria! What was that? The girl clung to her leg, fear written all over her face. Maria turned sharply, terror coursing through her veins. The sound intensified, followed by a guttural growl echoing through the dark corridors. It was too close. They had little time. We need to get out of here. She yelled, snatching the lantern from the pedestal. As she turned back to the girl, the lights flickered ominously. Shadows danced erratically along the walls, twisting into faces ghastly, anguished faces that seemed to scream from the depths of that darkness. "Run!" Maria shouted, bolting for the exit, the girl barely keeping pace beside her. They sprinted toward the corridor, the lantern's flickering light guiding their path. Behind them, the growls morphed into a menacing laughter that echoed through the air, reverberating with malice. The walls felt alive, and the shadows clawed at their heels. "Keep moving, don't look back," Maria yelled over her shoulder, her throat strained with urgency. They raced down the corridor, the distant sounds of pursuit growing louder, unfurling like a chilling symphony. Breathing hard, Maria's thoughts raced. The weight of the lantern seemed to grow heavier as she pushed forward. What was this place? Where did it lead? As the entrance they had come from slipped out of sight, a new path opened before them, a dimly lit passage that felt suffocatingly narrow. "Where do we go now?" The girl gasped, clenching Maria's hand tightly. Maria hesitated, the flicker of the lantern illuminating her indecision. Each choice seemed fraught with peril. A whisper of reality sunk into her gut. They needed to find something, anything, that could help them survive this nightmare. If that flicker of light had brought them here, perhaps it also held the key to escape. With resolution hardening in her chest, she made the choice that could change everything, darting into the shadowy passage, the lantern held aloft as their only beacon of hope amidst the chaos. But just as they crossed the threshold, the ground beneath them trembled, and a spine-chilling roar echoed through the confines of the corridor, freezing Maria in her tracks. An unseen force clawed at the edges of the darkness, and a new wave of dread washed over her. The creature was not far behind. They were not out of danger yet. "Do you hear that?" The girl whimpered, pulling even closer to Maria. "Yes, Maria breathed, the tension coiling tighter around them. The passageway ahead twisted into more shadow, a labyrinth that could either lead to salvation or become their tomb. They had to move. The chase was far from over. As they pressed deeper, the walls seemingly closed in. What awaited them beyond this labyrinth? Would they find an escape or another horror waiting in the black? With their fate hanging in the balance, the urgency surged. There was no turning back now. And from deep within the shadows, something sinister stirred, waiting for them to falter. The shadows thickened around Maria and the girl, mingling with the acrid scent of smoke that clawed at their throats. The lantern's flame flickered like a heartbeat, mimicking the frantic rhythm of their pulses. Every step felt perilous as they navigated the narrow passage, walls pressing tighter, as if the corridor itself was alive, intent on squeezing them into oblivion. "Please, Maria," the girl's voice was a soft whimper against the overwhelming dread. "What if it gets us?" "Don't think like that. We're not done yet," Maria replied, her voice steadier than she felt. She gripped the lantern tighter, infusing it with determination as they fled deeper into the labyrinth. The air felt charged, crackling with a suffocating energy that prickled against her skin. Suddenly, an ear-piercing shriek split the air, sending echoes ricocheting through the twists and turns of the passage. Maria's heart lurched. It wasn't a sound of pain, it was an unearthly war cry that promised death. "Run!" she shouted again, urgency propelling them forward. They hurtled around a corner, the light of the lantern illuminating a new chamber, this one broader, but no less sinister. A wall of mirrors lined this room, too. Unlike the previous chamber, these mirrors bore grim reflections, twisting their images into grotesque parodies. Maria felt her resolve waver as she glimpsed distorted shadows behind their reflections, shadowy hands clawing at glass as if desperate to escape. "Are they alive?" the girl asked, quaking beside her. "I don't know," Maria replied. The truth hung heavy in the air. This place was a trap, and they were trapped within it. But they had no time for fear or doubt. She stepped forward, glancing into the nearest mirror, her own reflection blurring as a sudden rush of wind swept through the chamber, extinguishing the lantern's light in an instant. Darkness engulfed them, swallowing their screams. Maria felt panic rise, a suffocating wave that threatened to drown her. "Hold on to me," she commanded, her voice fierce as she reached blindly for the girl's hand. Maria. The girl's voice trembled like a leaf, and with it came a rush of fear that shot through Maria's veins. I can't see. In that pitch-black void, the world felt distorted, every sound amplified. Heavy breathing echoed, but it wasn't just their own. The growl from before returned, hauntingly close, reverberating through the silence. Stay close. Maria shouted, although that was a flimsy promise, for she could hardly keep herself grounded. With determination, she fumbled around, hands outstretched, desperate to find any solid surface. And then, without warning, a flash of blinding light erupted before them, illuminating the space in an otherworldly hue. They blinked against the brightness, and for a brief, disorienting moment, it felt as if time stood still. But as the light faded, something shifted in the air. The mirrors shimmered, revealing clearer images. Now alarming scenes played out before them. Shadows in the glass showed twisted figures moving with sickening delight, creeping closer to their own reflections. Maria, look! The girl shouted, pointing. They're trying to get us. Maria's heart dropped. She could see grotesque versions of themselves clawing at the glass, a mockery of their innocence, each face twisted in pain and malice. We have to leave, now. She cried, turning back toward what she hoped was an exit. But the sound of laughter rang out, chilling her to the bone. It was the laughter from before, taunting, echoing through the mirrors, growing stronger, a sinister chorus that mocked their flight. Suddenly, the chamber shifted, walls convulsing as if the entire structure began to close in around them. The mirrors cracked, and jagged shards spilled onto the floor, sharp and glimmering like lethal stars. Maria! It's too tight. The girl wailed, panic breaking through her voice. They had to find a way out. Fear swirled in Maria's mind, but what if, deep within this madness, there was a way to confront it? Maybe the lantern could guide them again, but first, she needed to find a safe path. Through the encroaching walls and the haunted mirrors, the laughter crescendoed, an all-encompassing nightmare blurring the line between illusion and reality. Maria clenched her fists, heart pounding. There had to be an answer hidden in this nightmare, but just then, beneath the roaring laughter and swirling shadows, she felt it, a whisper on the wind, hinting at a truth both terrifying and thrilling. A way out was near, but at what cost? Maria, the girl's voice cut through her thoughts, quivering with dread. What? Maria asked, heart racing with urgency, her instincts screaming that they had to move. Did you hear that? The whisper, it said something. Darkness swelled around them, and Maria felt the walls closing in. Whatever the answer was, it was only a breath away. But would they dare listen? And more importantly, could they trust what lay beyond the darkness? The shadows danced, flickering like flames as they pressed in on Maria and the girl, suffocating the air with palpable dread. Maria's mind raced. Was the whisper calling to them, or was it another trap? She swallowed hard, fear building a knot in her throat. Stick close. She urged, grasping the girl's hand tightly. With each step, the laughter echoed louder, a mocking reminder of their peril. Maria's heartbeat synced with the rhythm of their hurried footsteps, pounding against her ribcage like a warning bell. As they moved, the shadows seemed to thicken further, squeezing the air from her lungs. She glanced at the mirrors lining the chamber, noticing something unsettling. The grotesque images had changed, the figures were now mimicking their movements, as if preparing to leap out of the glass. What do we do? The girl stammered, her voice tinged with panic. Maria's grip tightened. We look for a way out all of this. She paused, struggling to keep her thoughts steady. It's not real, it can't be. Just then, a deafening crash rattled the mirrors. A shard hit the floor, shattering the delicate silence with a shrill clatter. Maria flinched, adrenaline surging through her veins, urging her to flee. Time felt twisted, every second felt like an eternity. Follow me. She shouted, leading the girl toward a dimly lit corner of the chamber. She could feel the cold breath of the shadows pressing in, nearly tangible as they whispered secrets she couldn't comprehend. Suddenly, another flash of blinding light illuminated the room. It was brief, but in that instant, Maria spotted something just for a heartbeat. A doorway at the far end of the chamber flickered into view, framed by swirling darkness. Was it real? Maria! The girl cried, her voice pleading. Is it safe? Trust me. Maria urged, pushing toward the vision. She felt the ground quake beneath them, and she could hear the laughter morphing into something more sinister, a low growl that rumbled with fury. In a desperate sprint, they dashed toward the door. Behind them, the walls groaned menacingly, making the air vibrate. Pieces of the mirrors began to fly through the room, slicing the air like daggers. Maria ducked, pulling the girl down with her just as a shard whizzed past them. Keep moving. She yelled, urgency boiling within her. They were so close, she could almost taste freedom. But the light flickered in and out, making her doubt their escape. Had they simply traded one trap for another? A cold wind howled through the chamber. The laughter transformed into shrieks as the figures in the mirrors lunged, reaching through the cracks with skeletal hands, as if pulling on invisible threads. Their faces contorted with rage and despair, a reflection of the girl's deepest fears. Maria felt an icy claw of dread wrap around her heart. Don't stop, she urged, pushing through the thickening darkness. They bolted toward the flickering doorway just as it began to close, narrowing into a slit, with the shadows clawing at their heels. Maria lunged forward, shoving against the unseen force. The girl let out a terrified wail. Maria, we want to make it. But just as despair threatened to drag them down, an unexpected surge of energy coursed through Maria. With a final burst, she hurled her body through the narrowing gap, dragging the girl behind her. They tumbled into a new space, the chilling laughter suddenly silenced behind them. Breathless and shaking, Maria looked around. They were in a vast hall, high ceilings arching overhead, illuminated by an eerie green glow that pulsed in sync with her heartbeat. What was that place? The girl gasped, wide-eyed. I don't know, Maria replied, her voice trembling. But we need to keep moving. That was only the beginning. Just then, a soft whisper slithered through the air, carrying an alluring melody. It beckoned them, sounding almost familiar. What is that? The girl asked. Maria felt a chill dance along her spine, but curiosity tugged at her. We have to find out. It might lead us to the way out. Or her voice trailed off, uncertainty creeping back in. The whisper grew louder, more insistent, wrapping around them like a promise. With every instinct screaming to run, Maria took a cautious step forward, drawn into the depths of the hall. But why did it feel like something or someone was watching them? Unbeknownst to them, a shadow loomed behind, silently calculating its next move. The hall stretched endlessly, its walls lined with flickering sconces that created eerie patterns on the stone floor. Each step they took echoed eerily, as if the very space absorbed their movements. Maria found herself holding the girl's hand tighter, each pulse of fear reverberating between them. Do you hear that? The girl's voice trembled, her eyes wide, reflecting the green light's glow. The whisper wrapped around them again, sweet yet chilling. It's getting closer, Maria said, pushing the dread deep within her. Keep moving. As they ventured deeper into the hall, shadows flickered at the edge of her vision, shapes twisting in and out like haunting memories. With each glance over her shoulder, she felt the weight of unseen eyes. The thought was nauseating, yet she pressed on, determined to unravel the mystery before them. Suddenly, the whispering crescendoed into a cacophony, a blend of sweet melodies laced with desperate cries. It clawed at Maria's mind, each note a reminder of the darkness they had narrowly escaped. Was this a sanctuary or another trap? Maria, there's something ahead. The girl shouted, pointing. A dazzling figure emerged from the luminescent haze. It was a woman, adorned in flowing garments that shimmered like starlight. Her face was kind, but her eyes, they hid something profound, a depth that spoke of both hope and betrayal. Welcome, travelers. The woman's voice rang out, soothing yet beckoning. You've made it through the shadows. Here, you can find what you seek. What do you mean? Maria asked cautiously, scanning the hall for any sign of danger. The path to salvation lies before you, but you must choose wisely, the woman replied, her smile radiant, yet there was an undertone of mischief in her voice. You seek escape, but at what cost? The girl's grip slackened as a chill spread through the hall. Maria felt her heart race. What did that mean? Every fiber of her being urged her to turn back. What kind of choices? Maria pressed, her voice shaking. We don't want to stay here. The woman stepped forward, her flowing garments swirling like smoke. You have the power to bind your fates with the shadows or free yourselves entirely. She paused, her eyes gleaming. But every choice has a price. The melody surged once more, entrancing and dizzying. Maria felt the pull, almost like a warm hand coaxing her forward. She wanted to trust the woman, but something in her gut screamed danger. What is your cost? The girl whispered, her voice quavering with uncertainty. If you wish to find the truth behind the whispers, if you desire to pierce the veil of shadows, you must heed the call within, and confront what lies beyond, the woman urged, stretching her hand out toward them, inviting yet perilous. But what if we refuse? Maria asked, daring to challenge fate. Then the shadows shall reclaim you, the woman intoned, her smile fading, replaced by a sorrowful gaze that felt almost genuine. And only despair will remain. For a moment, the hall fell silent. The shadows seemed to cower, retreating as if they feared the woman. Maria's mind raced. The fear of failure and loss intertwined with an unbearable longing. We need to decide. The girl urged, her eyes glistening with panic and uncertainty. Yes, we need to decide, Maria echoed, her voice trembling. But the weight of the choice pressed heavily upon her. With the echoes of laughter and cries behind them and a compelling whisper tugging at her spirit, Maria felt as if the world teetered on the brink of chaos. Choices had never felt so perilous. Just then, a cold wind swept through the hall, extinguishing the sconces. The woman flickered, her form wavering like a candle in the storm. Choose now. She shrieked, a desperation creeping into her tone, clutching the girl's hand tightly. Maria's heart raced, skimming the edge of hope and dread. What if this was a decision that would change everything? As the darkness surged back to life, Maria gasped, what if we choose nothing at all? And in that moment of doubt, the floor beneath them trembled. Something dark and hostile stirred, ready to grasp what they had deemed mere choices. Was this the end, or just the beginning of their nightmare? The ground shook, sending tremors that jostled Maria and the girl from their paralysis. The air crackled with an energy so suffocating it felt like a noose tightening around their throats. Maria's heart pounded faster as she felt the shadows squirming beneath her feet, hungry to pull them under. Look out! The girl screamed, as dark tendrils burst forth from the stone floor. They twisted and writhed like serpents, aiming for the two of them. Maria barely had time to react as she yanked the girl closer, their breaths coming in quick gasps. What do we do? The girl cried, panic clawing her voice. There was nowhere to run, the hall's walls seemed to close in on them, restricting their escape. Trust me, Maria whispered, steering them to the flickering glow of the woman, who had now transformed, her kindness twisted into something sinister. We need to make a choice. The woman's laughter soared over the cries of the shadows. Choose. Bind your fates or let them consume you. Her eyes burned with a wild light, the shadows swirling around her like loyal pets at their master's feet. Binding our fates, what does that even mean? The girl trembled, her voice barely above a whisper. It means to take the shadows with us, Maria said, understanding dawning. To face them rather than flee. Are you sure? The girl cowered, glancing at the slithering darkness creeping toward them. What if it's a trap? Before Maria could respond, the tendrils lunged. She barely managed to dodge, dragging the girl aside as they crashed into a wall. A tangle of dark energy coiled around Maria's ankle like a vice, pulling her toward the abyss. Maria! The girl screamed, reaching desperately for her. The pain of the girl's grip was sharp, a tether that anchored Maria even as shadow clawed at her spirit. "Hold on!" Maria shouted through gritted teeth, battling the mounting terror. She could feel the shadows whispering unbearable secrets, promises of despair and surrender. "We have to confront this together." In that instant, something clicked. The shadows, once threatening, began shifting as if understanding. They didn't just want to consume, they wanted recognition. They were memories, fears, regrets, manifestations of everything Maria had ever tried to push away. "Speak to them," Maria ordered, her mind racing. "Tell them how you feel." The girl hesitated, confusion washing over her face. "How?" "Just feel. Let it all out," Maria urged, connecting their palms tightly. As warmth flooded her veins where darkness lingered, breathing heavily, the girl closed her eyes. "I'm scared. I feel like I'm always running. I don't want to be afraid anymore." Maria felt the shadows recoil at their words, a collective gasp echoing through the hall. "Yes. We need to own our fears," she shouted, her own heart racing. "I refuse to be afraid. I want to let you win." The shadows twisted wildly as the girl's voice broke through the cacophony of whispers. "You don't control me," she cried with newfound strength. Slowly, the darkness began to retract, unfurling like a wave pulling back from the shore. It staggered, reforming as tendrils danced and writhed rather than advancing. The woman's face darkened, frustration marring her once angelic features. "Fools! You believe you can challenge what lies within?" Her voice echoed, tinged with rage. But the girl's grip tightened around Maria's hand. "We choose to confront it. We choose to face our fears." And then, it happened. A blinding burst of light cascaded from their hands, illuminating the hall. The shadows shrieked, disintegrating into wisps of smoke. The warmth surged through Maria, igniting a defiant spirit within her. They were winning, but as the light swallowed them, it threw open a doorway in the hall, leading to what looked like an endless expanse of the void. The woman's laughter rang deeper, more menacing, shaking the very foundation of the hall. "Every choice still has a consequence. You may escape, but the darkness has its price." Maria's stomach dropped. What did that mean? "Maria!" the girl shouted, her eyes wide with terror. "What if we don't make it?" The doorway pulsed ominously, pulling at them again. "Then we'll fight," Maria yelled, her heart set. "We'll fight until the end." As they prepared to leap into the unknowable, a chilling wind swept through, and dread whispered softly in the darkness. What awaited them on the other side? Would they find salvation or damnation? Would they ever truly escape the deeper shadows that lurked beyond their vision? Maria took a breath, the cold air burning her lungs, but she couldn't let fear seep into her resolve. The void before them was a dark sea, its currents swirling ominously, yet the warmth from the light held them steady. "We'll get through this together," she reassured the girl, who trembled beside her. "No matter what comes, we fight back." The malign laughter of the woman echoed, reverberating through the hall, but they were done running. Maria remembered the warmth of shared courage, felt it vibrating through her veins. With the lantern in one hand and the girl's small hand in the other, they stepped closer to the edge. "On three," Maria said, glancing at the girl, whose eyes mirrored her determination. 1, 2, 3. They vaulted into the void, the world dissolving into blinding light and shadows. As they plunged through the threshold, Maria felt a rush of weightlessness, like being suspended in time and space. An echoing roar surrounded them, yet the warmth held firm. They could feel each other's heartbeats, a rhythm of hope amidst a sea of chaos. Then, all at once, they landed softly on the ground, the air swirling around them before settling into tranquility. They looked around, stunned and wide-eyed. They were in a vast meadow bathed in golden sunlight, flowers swaying gently in a warm breeze. "Is this real?" the girl whispered, gazing up at the bright blue sky. Maria felt her chest tighten. This was different. It was peaceful. I think we made it. Just then, laughter bubbled around them, uplifting and warm. Figures emerged, familiar faces, the girl's parents, worry etched into their features, now washing away with relief. Maria! One of the parents cried, rushing towards them with open arms. The girl's eyes sparkled with a mix of joy and disbelief. Mom! Dad! Maria's heart swelled, the ache of fear and dread dissipating as the family reunited. As they embraced, Maria felt a surge of fulfillment, an ache lifted. You did it! The girl's father said, tears sparkling like jewels in the sun. You saved her. No, Maria replied, shaking her head, we saved each other. Their eyes met, and for that fleeting moment, a small bond formed, bridged by shared journeys through darkness. What about the shadows? The girl asked, concern etching her brow. Maria chuckled softly, glancing back toward the shimmering void they had exited. They're a part of us, but we face them now. Together. With that, the girl smiled, a brilliant, glowing smile that made Maria's heart swell. She felt the weight of anxiety lift completely, replaced by warmth. This victory was no small feat, it was a testament to strength and resilience, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, light could break through. As their laughter mingled with the bright air, Maria knew their lives had changed. The mansion, the monster, it all faded into the past, mere shadows now. The trauma remained, but the choice to keep moving forward filled her with hope. With her hand intertwined with the little girl's family, they walked forward together across the golden meadow, each step echoing a promise, of resilience, of light enduring through darkness, and of the power found in love and unity. Life awaited them, fresh and unafraid. Maria! The girl called, her voice playful. Did we really defeat the shadows? Maria laughed, we just learned to dance with them, sweet girl. In the distance, the horizon stretched endlessly, a beautiful tapestry of possibilities unfolding. The sun sparkled overhead, shining down on them, a beacon lighting their future. As they joined the dance of laughter, the echoes of their past faded peacefully like a haunting melody at dusk. But they had a mission to carry this light forward and share it with others. Because every heart knew darkness, but only those willing to fight could find the light. This was the beginning of their story, the ultimate choice made. Hope triumphed over despair, and they would never forget that. Now it's your turn, my friend. Subscribe immediately to catch the next exclusive stories that will warm your heart. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm and keep this adventure alive. Flood the comments section with your reactions and wild theories about this ending. We want to hear from you. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this journey of hope and bravery. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions, so join us now.